right, so you guys want to know all about Novocaine, huh? Well, let's dive in, get you prepped.
Yeah, sounds good.
So this is an action comedy directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson.
Yep.
And it stars Jack Quaid as Nathan Kane, who plays a bank manager.
Right.
But he's got this really interesting condition.
Mm-hmm.
It's called congenital insensitivity to pain.
Right, CP.
Or CP.
Yeah.
Now, the story really kicks off when Nathan's co-worker, Sherry, played by Amber Midthunder,
Yes.
gets kidnapped during a bank robbery.
Pretty intense.
And since Nathan can't feel pain, he kind of has to come up with a unique way to rescue her, right?
Exactly.
So looking at everything you guys have sent in,
Right.
what's really got people buzzing about Novocaine?
So I think one of the big things that's making people excited is Jack Quaid's performance, right?
Yeah, what about it?
A lot of the articles you sent, there's this consistent praise for how he manages to pull off this action hero persona, but there's also this vulnerability there.
Right. I noticed that too.
And I think that's so important because think about it. If he's just this invincible, unfeeling guy, it would be hard to connect with him on an emotional level.
Yeah, for sure.
But the sources suggest that Quaid does a really good job of grounding the character, right? So even though he can't feel pain, his determination to save Sherry comes across as really genuine and relatable.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like he makes you believe that he's going through all this crazy stuff for a reason, even if he doesn't physically feel it.
And what about those action scenes, right? You mentioned he's doing all this crazy stuff.
Oh yeah, those are supposed to be pretty wild.
Well, it makes him so unique.
Well, from what I gathered, the filmmakers really leaned into Nathan's CPA.
Oh.
They didn't just use it as a gimmick. Instead of just having him be some tough guy who can take a punch, they actually choreographed the fights in a way that utilizes his lack of pain.
Oh.
So you might see him use a broken limb as leverage or something, right? And that creates this darkly humorous effect.
Okay.
But it's also visceral, right? It's it's gonna be something you wouldn't see in your average action flick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it plays into the overall tone they're going for too.
Oh, how so?
Well, from what I've seen, the directors are really trying to strike this specific balance between brutal action and levity, right?
Yeah.
The humor's there to kind of offset the intensity of the violence.
Okay.
So it doesn't just become this super grim, dark movie.
Right.
And that seems to be a big part of what's drawing people in.
But some of the reviews also mention some potential downsides.
Oh yeah, there are always some of those.
One thing that kept coming up was this concern about the whole no pain thing.
Yeah.
Can that really keep people engaged for a whole movie?
That's the good point, right? It's a cool concept, but can they keep finding new and interesting ways to use it?
Yeah.
Or does it run the risk of getting repetitive?
Right.
Some people seem to think it might lose its novelty if they're not careful.
Yeah. And speaking of things potentially not working out, what about the tone? I saw some things about tonal inconsistencies.
Yeah, that could be tricky when you're mixing genres like this.
Right.
You got to make sure those shifts feel natural, If it's jarring, it can totally pull you out of the story.
Yeah, I hate when that happens.
Totally.
Also, pacing was another thing that came up.
Okay.
Some of the reviews said that certain parts felt kind of drawn out.
Yeah, I can see that being an issue.
Especially if you're going in expecting a fast-paced action comedy.
Right, you want to keep things moving.
It sounds like Novocaine could be a little uneven in that regard.
Yeah, finding that sweet spot between action, comedy, and character development.
Right.
That's always a challenge, isn't it?
Okay, so let's do a quick recap.
Okay.
Sounds like Novocaine has got this really unique premise with the whole pain-insensitive bank manager, right?
Yeah.
And from what we've seen, Jack Quaid's performance and the way they use his condition in the action scenes, those seem to be the big draws.
For sure.
But there are some question marks around whether the premise can stay fresh throughout the movie.
Right.
And whether the filmmakers can keep that balance between comedy and violence. And of course, the pacing.
Yeah.
So essentially, Novocaine is this action comedy where the main character's inability to feel pain.
Right.
That's what drives the whole thing.
Exactly.
So here's a final thought for you guys. Do you think this whole pain and sensitivity thing, does it really have the legs to carry a whole movie? Or is it kind of limited from the get-go?
That's a good question.
Something to think about as you decide if Novocaine is something you want to check out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive on Novocaine.
My pleasure.
See you next time.
See ya.